Welcome back to our commentary series on Ajmal's writing. From his website, theborderofamind.com.
Yeah. Are you tired of the seemingly perfect lives everyone portrays online?
Oh, yeah.
That constant highlight reel of filtered photos and glamorous experiences? Well, today we're looking at Ajmal's blog post, Life Uncurated,
Right.
where he challenges us to embrace a more authentic way of being.
It's such a timely piece, especially in an age where we're bombarded with images of curated perfection.
Right.
What I find fascinating is how Ajmal connects this phenomenon to deeper societal trends and psychological needs.
So let's unpack this a bit.
Okay.
Ajmal argues that this pressure to present a perfectly curated life,
Yeah.
it isn't just about vanity.
Right.
It's tied to this pervasive feeling that we need to constantly prove our worth, showcase our achievements, and project an image of success.
Exactly. He points out that this can lead to some pretty unhealthy consequences like comparison, envy, and even a fear of missing out.
Right.
We start to believe that everyone else is living these extraordinary lives, while ours feels ordinary and inadequate.
He uses the term life-size diorama to describe this. It's like we're creating these static, artificial representations of our lives instead of actually living them.
And this ties into what he calls hustle culture.
Okay.
This relentless pursuit of achievement and productivity that leaves little room for rest, reflection, or genuine connection.
So how does he propose we break free from this?
Yeah, how do we break free from this cycle of curated perfection and embrace a more authentic way of being?
Right.
He encourages us to start by questioning the narratives we've internalized about success,
Okay.
happiness, and what it means to live a fulfilling life. He suggests asking ourselves, whose standards am I trying to meet? And are those standards actually serving me?
That's a powerful question.
It is.
He's essentially urging us to define our own values and priorities,
Exactly.
rather than letting external pressures dictate how we live our lives.
He also emphasizes the importance of cultivating self-compassion.
And accepting that we're all works in progress. It's about embracing our imperfections and recognizing that they're part of what makes us unique and human.
He doesn't shy away from the messiness of life, does he?
No, he doesn't.
He actually encourages us to lean into it.
Absolutely. He talks about the importance of allowing ourselves to experience the full spectrum of human emotions,
Right.
the good, the bad, and everything in between. He says, don't just show us your highlight reel.
Yeah.
Show us your blooper reel, too.
He's basically saying, let's be real with each other.
Yes.
Let's stop pretending that life is always sunshine and rainbows.
And this is where his message gets really interesting.
Okay.
He argues that when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable and authentic, we create space for deeper, more meaningful connections with others.
It's about taking off the masks and letting people see the real you flaws and all.
Yeah.
But that takes courage, doesn't it?
It does. He acknowledges that it can be scary to put ourselves out there,
Right.
especially in a world that often values perfection and conformity.
But he believes that the rewards of authenticity far outweigh the risks.
And what are some of those rewards?
Yeah. What does Ajmal say we stand to gain by embracing a more uncurated approach to life? He suggests that when we let go of the pressure to be perfect, we free up energy to pursue our passions, nurture our relationships, and engage more fully with the world around us.
It's like we're giving ourselves permission to be fully human with all our quirks and imperfections.
Exactly. He also talks about the importance of finding joy in the simple things,
Yes.
the everyday moments that often get overlooked when we're caught up in the pursuit of something bigger and better.
This idea of slowing down, being present, and appreciating the beauty of ordinary moments is something that really resonates with me.
Me too, and I think it's a message that a lot of people need to hear, especially in our fast-paced, hyper-connected world. It's about shifting our focus from what we think our lives should look like to what they actually feel like.
You know, he also talks about this idea of reclaiming our narratives, taking back control of how we present ourselves to the world, and challenging those unrealistic standards of perfection that are constantly being shoved in our faces.
Right, and this ties into the concept of body neutrality, which he mentions in his post. It's about moving beyond the pressure to love our bodies all the time,
Okay.
and instead simply accepting them for what they are, flaws and all.
It's like saying, this is my body.
Yeah.
It's not perfect, but it's mine, and it allows me to experience the world in all its messy glory.
Exactly. And this acceptance, he argues, can be incredibly liberating. It frees us from the constant self-criticism and comparison that can drain our energy and prevent us from living fully in the present moment.
So what does embracing an uncurated life actually look like in practice?
Yeah.
What are some concrete steps we can take to cultivate more authenticity in our daily lives?
Ajmal offers a few suggestions.
Okay.
He encourages us to start by being more mindful of our social media consumption.
You might ask yourself, are the accounts I'm following making me feel inspired and connected, or are they triggering feelings of inadequacy and comparison?
That's a great point. It's about curating our online experiences just as intentionally as we curate our offline lives.
He also suggests practicing gratitude for the things we do have rather than dwelling on what we lack.
Right?
This could involve keeping a gratitude journal, writing thank you notes, or simply taking a few moments each day to appreciate the good things in our lives.
It's about shifting our focus from what we don't have to what we do have.
Exactly.
And that can be a powerful antidote to the envy and discontent that often fuel the pursuit of curated perfection.
Absolutely. He also talks about the importance of cultivating meaningful connections with people who support and accept us for who we are, imperfections and all.
It's about surrounding ourselves with people who make us feel seen, heard, and valued. And it's about being that kind of person for others.
He encourages us to practice vulnerability in our relationships, to share our struggles and fears, and to let people see the real us, not just the polished version we present to the world.
So it's about being authentic in our interactions, even if it feels a little uncomfortable or risky at first.
And this authenticity, he suggests, can actually lead to deeper, more fulfilling relationships.
Because when we show up as our true selves, we give others permission to do the same.
And that creates a sense of trust and connection that can be incredibly powerful.
He also talks about the importance of embracing our creativity, of expressing ourselves authentically through art, music, writing, or whatever form of creative expression speaks to us.
It's about tapping into that inner voice and letting it flow freely without judgment or censorship.
And it's about sharing our creations with the world, even if they're imperfect, because they represent a part of who we are.
He reminds us that the world needs our unique voices, our stories, our perspectives.
Right.
And that by sharing our authentic selves, we contribute to a richer, more diverse, and ultimately more beautiful world.
This idea of embracing our imperfections and sharing them with the world can be pretty daunting, though.
Yeah.
How does Ajmal address that fear of judgment and rejection that can hold us back from being truly authentic?
He acknowledges that putting ourselves out there can be scary. He talks about the vulnerability hangover.
Oh, yeah.
That feeling of exposure and uncertainty that can come after we've shared something deeply personal.
We've all been there, right? That
Okay.
feeling of, oh no, what have I done?
But he encourages us to push through that discomfort.
Okay.
And to remember that true connection and growth often happen outside of our comfort zones.
He reminds us that the people who truly matter will love and accept us for who we are, flaws and all.
And that the opinions of those who don't really matter anyway.
It's about choosing courage over comfort, authenticity over approval.
He also suggests practicing self-compassion and remembering that we're all human, we all make mistakes, and that's okay.
It's about treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we would offer a close friend.
And it's about recognizing that our worthiness is not contingent on being perfect or achieving some external standard of success.
It's about embracing the perfectly imperfect journey of being human.
Now, Ajmal's post focuses a lot on the pitfalls of social media and this culture of curated perfection.
Right.
But is he suggesting that we should all abandon social media altogether?
That's a good question. I don't think he's advocating for a complete social media detox,
Okay.
but he does encourage us to be more mindful of how we're using it and to be aware of the potential downsides.
Right, he's not saying that social media is inherently bad.
Uh-huh.
It can be a powerful tool for connection, community building, and even activism.
Right.
But it's important to use it in a way that serves us rather than letting it control us.
So it's about being intentional with our social media use, about setting boundaries, and about prioritizing our mental health and well-being.
Exactly. It's about using social media as a tool to connect with others and share our authentic selves rather than letting it become a source of comparison, envy, and self-doubt.
He also reminds us that the perfectly curated lives we see on social media are often just a carefully constructed illusion.
It's like a highlight reel, showcasing only the best moments while hiding the messy, unfiltered reality of everyday life.
And when we buy into that illusion, we set ourselves up for disappointment and self-criticism.
He encourages us to remember that everyone has their own struggles, their own insecurities, and that no one's life is perfect no matter how it may appear online.
So it's about taking everything we see on social media with a grain of salt and focusing on cultivating our own sense of self-worth and authenticity offline.
He's essentially saying don't compare your behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel.
Yeah, it's so easy to fall into that trap,
It is.
especially when you're constantly bombarded with these images
Right.
of seemingly perfect lives.
He reminds us that those images are often carefully curated and edited,
Right.
and they present a really distorted view of reality.
He encourages us to focus on our own journeys, our own unique paths, and to celebrate the progress we're making, no matter how small it may seem.
He talks about the importance of setting our own definitions of success and happiness rather than letting external factors dictate our worth.
So it's not about achieving some, arbitrary standard of perfection or reaching some predetermined destination.
Right. It's about enjoying the journey, embracing the ups and downs, and finding joy in the everyday moments.
Towards the end of his post, Ajmal issues a really powerful call to action.
Oh, yeah.
He says, let's be the generation that redefines what it means to be truly successful.
Wow.
Let's be the generation that chooses authenticity over approval, vulnerability over vanity, and connection over comparison.
It's a beautiful and inspiring message.
It is.
He's essentially challenging us to rewrite the narrative,
Yeah.
to create a world where authenticity is celebrated and vulnerability is seen as a strength, not a weakness.
And he believes that this shift starts with each of us, with our individual choices to embrace our true selves and to show up in the world with courage and authenticity.
He encourages us to ask ourselves, what would my life look like if I let go of the pressure to be perfect and embrace my perfectly imperfect self?
What does Ajmal say we stand to gain by taking that leap of faith, by choosing to live a more uncurated life?
He suggests that when we let go of the need to control and curate every aspect of our lives, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We become more resilient, more compassionate, and more connected to ourselves and others.
We talk about the freedom that comes with embracing our true selves,
Yes.
the joy of living authentically, and the deep sense of peace that arises when we let go of the need to prove ourselves to the world.
He also suggests that by choosing authenticity, we inspire others to do the same. We create a ripple effect that can transform our relationships, our communities, and ultimately the world around us.
So as we wrap up this episode,
Okay.
we encourage you to reflect on Ajmal's message and to consider what one small step you can take today to embrace a more uncurated approach to life.
Where can you let go of the pressure to be perfect and allow yourself to be more fully authentically you?
We encourage you to visit theborderofamind.com to read Ajmal's full blog post and to explore his other insightful writings.
And be sure to stay tuned for future episodes in our commentary series,
Yes?
where we'll continue to delve into thought-provoking topics and explore ways to cultivate more meaningful lives.